Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And in this video, we're going to be speaking about the various documents that you need before you can actually apply for a diaspora mortgage in Ghana. The process associated with getting a diaspora mortgage in Ghana and the timelines associated, right? So this is everything you need to be able to obtain a diaspora mortgage in Ghana. So if you haven't done so far already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into it. So in this one, I'm going to have to check my notes on this one because there's quite a lot of things that you need to think about and actually gather up together before you actually go to get your mortgage, right? But one important thing to note is that you're going to be gathering all of these documentations from around the world. You would have to get a notary public or an authorized representative who can actually verify the authenticity of your documentation. So normally what you would have to do in the UK, for example, you'll print off all your documents and you'll take it to this notary public or a solicitor who can actually give their stamp of approval and seal and sign and date and verify in their authority and the office in which they sit that they can actually verify that these are true authentic copies of the original. So you'll show them the original. So let's say this is your passport, or let's say this is your payslip, you show them the original, they will verify that this is an authentic copy, okay? Or let's say you'll show them that you've downloaded your Equifax report, and then they will sign and seal it. And typically it's quite an expensive charge. They actually charge per documents, but it depends on where you are. Just do some research. Solicitors might be able to do it as well. Just check if they have the authority to act as a notary public. So yeah, just check all of that in your local jurisdiction. So documentation you need. Number one, you need proof of ID. So you need your identification documents. These are passports, your Ghana card, or proof of Ghanaian parentage. I remember when I was doing this myself, I actually provided a copy. At the time, I didn't have my Ghanaian passport. And what I did is I provided a copy of my birth certificate, and I was able to show that my mum is Ghanaian, right? So that was the reason and the way that I was able to demonstrate my Ghanaian parentage. Then you and your ID, you need your ID either way it goes, right? Then you also need your proof of address. So utility bill, official letters to verify your residency, your driving license, for example. So anything official that shows your address and proves that this is where you live outside of Ghana. Then you also need 6 months bank statements. So you want to be able to demonstrate to the bank that you can actually get an income and you can actually afford the mortgage. So giving them 6 months of bank statements allows them to start to do their verifications and due diligence on you. Then, as I said, you need your credit report, and that is from your resident country. So if you're in the UK, USA, Germany, just check your country. I'm sure you're all aware of how to find your credit report. If you're not, then please do leave a comment and I'll let you know your country's one. You need your income verification. So you also need your pay slips. You typically require pay slips that cover the last 6 months as well, right? To be eligible for a diaspora mortgage, you need to have demonstrated that you've worked consistently for the last 2 years. That's also another thing to prove, that you need to prove. But with the pay slips, you need to show consistent monthly income, and that monthly income should be around £1,800 to £2,000 or the equivalent. Sorry, £1,800 equivalent or $2,000 equivalent. I hope that makes sense, okay? So you have to be able to demonstrate that you're making that consistently in order to be eligible for the diaspora mortgage. And of course, they're going to check the price of the property and see that you can afford it based on how much you actually earn. You also need to actually provide your employment contracts and verifying your employment status and your salary as well, and proving how much you get and the fact that you're employed by this so-and-so company. You need to then make sure you've got all the documentation for the property in which you are purchasing. So you need your title deeds, the proof of ownership for the property or land that you wish to purchase. You need the site plan. So for new constructions, the site plan and the architectural drawings need to be provided. You need the developer information. So if you're purchasing off-plan, all the relevant information about the developer and the property needs to be submitted beforehand to the bank. And then the notary public, who you actually take all this documentation to, excluding the property documentation. So everything I said about you needs to be notarized. Everything about the property, the bank can do its own due diligence. So about the property that you're purchasing, right? So the developer, the title deeds, etc. The bank can do all of that. So that is important for you to note. The application process and the timeline. Now, when you're applying for the diaspora mortgage, it typically takes between 1 to 3 months to actually apply, or for the process to run its course. Now, I do highly advise people that are looking to actually get a diaspora mortgage, to actually start once you have identified what property you're looking for, because that will kick off the bank actually starting their process. You know, in the UK, they typically provide like mortgage agreements in principle. In Ghana, they don't really do that. You have to bring to the table the property and show them this is the documentation for the property you're actually looking at buying. And then here's all your documentation. And then they can start to do kind of like an in principle agreement, right? And checks and balances about you and whether you can afford it, okay? Or you can go to the bank with saying, I've seen a property like this, for example, that's about 100K. Can I afford it based on all of these documentations? So you have to have done that work first before you now start the process for the mortgage, okay? So the timeline typically takes 1 to 3 months, right? As I said, right from you submitting all your documentation to the final approval. Now, the steps are, number one, contact somebody like me, right? To introduce you to the bank, so a broker, to actually verify that you've got all the documentation, you've got all the things in hand and you found the right property, etc. So, you know, step one is contact me, as I said. Number two, you want to now, once I've connected you to a bank, you now submit the documentation, right? So you submit all the documents that I've just mentioned in this video. Number three, the bank will do a property valuation. So they'll actually go to the property and verify that the property is actually worth the amount that the property developer has said, or how much you've said it's stated when you are doing the construction, for example, or when the land. So they'll get a valuer in place, a surveyor in place, to actually verify the value of the property, okay? Then the bank will start to do its own due diligence. Now, this is one of the reasons why I actually sometimes will prefer a mortgage. Now, we'll go into the advantages and disadvantages, but the good thing about getting a mortgage is because the bank is going to anyway do its due diligence. So that way you can actually verify the actual authenticity of what you're purchasing, okay? That's one of the benefits, but we'll go to that later on. Okay, but the bank will do its own due diligence process on you as well as the property that you're purchasing. And then the bank will then approve and then disperse the funds to you once they've completed all of their checks. Guys, I do hope you found this video useful. And if you're interested in finding out more about getting a diaspora mortgage in Ghana, then please do reach out to me. You can leave a comment below if you found this video insightful as well. But I do have a number of other videos available, so please do go and check those out. You can also check out my ebooks. You can check out my toolkit. You can book a consultation with me. There's so many ways for you to get in touch and also use my services as well. Now, if you haven't done so far already, please do make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share this video as well. But guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye.